Network show. It is Thursday, February 17th, 2022, and we are live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment, 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. All right, so I saw this story from thegrio.com, NBC News. Then I was looking at some local news sources for this story as well. I was looking at I think it's WTHR out of Indiana. So you have this Black History Month lesson that's taking place. We know this is the month of February. And this story, WTHR in South Indiana. This story deals with the Sprunica Elementary School. And Washington Post has a good article on this also. An Indiana school planned Black History Month lessons. A letter sent to parents allowed them to opt out. A Black History Month, an Indiana school planned a Black History Month lesson. A letter sent to parents allowed them to opt out of the Black History Month lesson. And it was a counselor who sent the letter that allowed parents to opt out. Counselor's name is Benjamin White, Sprunica Elementary School in Nevaeh, Indiana. So we're going to talk about this story. This story has garnered nationwide attention. There's an update to this story from Wednesday, February 16th, from Superintendent Emily Tracy. And WTHR Channel 13 there in Indiana has some good reporting on this also. So we'll talk about this. And then, you know, we talked about Whoopi Goldberg being suspended, I think wrongfully suspended from The View for expressing her view. And she was wrong about history, but a lot of people are wrong about history. Americans are very ignorant when it comes to history. So Whoopi Goldberg, we know, returned to The View after being suspended for saying that the Jewish Holocaust during World War II was not about race. And, you know, we broke this down extensively on this show and talked about how the Nazis, based upon their Nazi ideology, saw the Jews as an inferior race. So it was therefore about race. It's not understanding race from the American perspective of understanding race and racism and European American or whites against African Americans. Is understanding it from the ideology of the Nazis and the master race that Hitler was spreading the propaganda regarding. So there's a story from soapopera-network.com. So what we found out is that the period of time for the one full week that Whoopi Goldberg was suspended from The View, The View hit a season low in total viewership. The View hit a season low in total viewership and key sales demographics during the full week of Whoopi Goldberg's suspension. Okay, so we're going to talk about that some as well, because a lot of the fans of The View disagreed with Kim Godwin, president of ABC News, suspending Whoopi Goldberg after Whoopi Goldberg apologized. Okay, she made the mistake on a Monday. She apologized on a Tuesday, and then got suspended anyway. So we'll talk about this as well. All right. And then we'll also give you a preview of the online class that I teach on Saturdays and Sundays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement of Black Power, 1865 to 1968. And we'll talk also about ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. All right, now on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it's correct your own behavior, what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. All right, we're going to go to clip one here. Just a second, Shakita. So there was a first story I saw about this was from thegrio.com. And the Griot has a piece here from February 17th. Parents given choice for elementary school kids to opt out of Black History lesson. And they, in this article from the Griot, they actually have the memo that was sent home to parents. Let's go to clip one, Shakita, from NBC News. Okay. All right. So I guess we have to get it queued up. All right. If we look at this piece from Washington Post, in Indiana school planned Black History Month lessons, a letter sent to parents allowed them to opt out. All right. So earlier this month, a letter to Sprunica Elementary School parents in Nevaeh, Indiana, enthusiastically announced plans to teach lessons about equity, caring, and understanding differences in honor of Valentine's Day and Black History Month. Now, I'm not exactly sure. I have a problem trying to you combining these lessons with Valentine's Day and Black History Month. I understand Frederick Douglass' birthday is February 14th, his assumed birthday, because he didn't know his birthday. But you announce plans to teach lessons about equity, caring, and understanding differences in honor of Valentine's Day and Black History Month. Okay. Now, also, by the way, okay, this school, Sprunica Elementary School, has 240 students. 97% of the students are white. All right, just keep that in mind. Now, students, quote, studies show that students who have a greater understanding of diversity in the classroom and outside world will demonstrate improved learning outcomes such as improved grades, better peer relationships, and greater success later on, the letter stated, which was signed by school counselor Benjamin White. We'll pick this up on the other side of the break. We're going to let you, we're going to go to that clip from NBC News also when we come back from the break. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Share this broadcast here on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in. Stand by. How's everybody doing? Who still needs to register for the online classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays? Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Stand by, everybody. All right, stand by. Back from break in 3 minutes. Okay, you can register for the online classes I teach on the weekend. On Saturdays, it's ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. There's a 10-week online class. I teach this 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. So you go back and watch it anytime. As soon as you register, you can watch the class we did last week. I'm going to post information here. So the class is regular $130. It's on sale $80. Okay, stand by. All right, how's everybody doing? We got Eric, Kenya, Shago. How you doing? Yeah, hit the thumbs up or the like button, the thumbs up, heart. Give us a heart. Okay, Miss Brenna. Back from break in 1 minute. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Thursday, February 17th, 2022, and we are live. All right, I'll be back. I'll be back on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, February 18th, so look out for that. And we'll share that on our social media platforms also. I'm a panelist usually each Friday on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Roland is in Liberia right now, covering the bicentennial of Liberia, in Liberia's independence. So we'll probably talk about that some on tomorrow's show. All right. So right before the break, and we're going to clip number 1 from NBC News here in just a minute. I was talking about this story out of Indiana. It's a strange story out of southern Indiana. This deals with the Sprunica Elementary School. Sprunica Elementary School. It's a school of 240 students, and the student body is 97% white. Okay, those on Facebook and YouTube, stand by. This computer. It gave them the option to opt out of the Black History Month lesson also. Okay. Let's go back to this. I want to go back to this article here from Washington Post. I had to refresh the screen because it was freezing up on me. Okay, so early this month, a letter to Sprunica Elementary School parents in Nineveh, Indiana, enthusiastically announced plans to teach lessons about equity, caring, and sharing, equity, caring, and understanding differences in honor of Valentine's Day and Black History Month. Studies show that students who have a greater understanding of diversity in the classroom and outside world will demonstrate improved learning outcomes, such as improved grades, better peer relationships, and greater career success later on, stated the letter, which was signed by school counselor Benjamin White. But below school counselor Benjamin White's sign off, the letter gave parents the option of shielding their children from the lessons. Parents could sign the bottom of the form under a sentence that read, quote, "My student does not have my permission to receive this lesson. My student does not have my permission to receive this lesson." Now, a photo of the form on Tuesday spread widely on Twitter. Okay. Tuesday, February 15th. A photo of the form spread widely on Twitter. And actually, if we look at the article here from thegrio.com, because I was able to get the ad to go down, one of the ads. There's so many ads here. My God. They have a post here of the letter, okay? And it's on Twitter. And we can't get it any, can we get any larger than that? Okay, so here's the letter here. And then at the bottom, it has Benjamin White and Master of Science Education, school counselor, all that. My student does not have permission to receive this lesson, parent signature. Okay, so this was posted Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. So this has gone viral. A lot of people are outraged about it. And if we go back to Washington Post piece here, because Washington Post has a really good article. I read a number of different articles here. Washington Post is an updated article. This article came out today from the Washington Post. So a photo of the form on Tuesday, February 15th, spread widely on Twitter, prompting online backlash in leading Brown County schools, a district located about 40 miles south of Indianapolis, to respond. Now, in a letter to families and staff members, Superintendent Emily Tracy, who's the superintendent of Brown County Schools, acknowledged the opt-out form and said the school district is, quote unquote, gathering more information on the matter. Brown County school district superintendent Emily Tracy said, in the meantime, know that we support teaching about the facts in our history. Including historical injustices. Know that we support teaching about the facts in our history, including historical injustices. Quote, our district is and will continue to be committed to having compassion for all and supporting an education community that will allow all students, staff, families, and community members the opportunity to feel welcome. Okay, so this was a statement that Superintendent Emily Tracy out, and I think this went out on Wednesday. Okay, let's go to clip number one, please, Shakita from NBC News.
Elementary school in Brown County allegedly sent a letter home to parents allowing students to opt out of Black history lessons. The last line of that letter in this picture reads, if you would like to opt your child out for receiving these lessons, then sign the form below and have your child return it to the school to give to the teacher. The post is making its rounds on social media with thousands of retweets and comments. One response, this makes me really sad for America. Another writes, why would this even be an option? 13 News reached out to the counselor who wrote the letter and will refer to the superintendent. After leaving messages, we showed up. We went to the Brown County Schools Administrative Office to speak with the superintendent, but we were told she's not available. Then Wednesday afternoon, 13 News found out the superintendent sent a letter to parents and staff about the situation. She released this statement to 13 News. She says, in part, quote, we do not allow students and parents to opt out of required curriculum, including instruction on social studies and histories. Any decision related to parental consent and curriculum determinations are made in accordance with the law. We are looking into the matter to determine the justification for the language included in the letter. We will respond to any parental concerns on an individualized basis.
All right. Pause right there. Okay. So if we look at this here in a statement to WTHR Channel 13, Browns County School Superintendent Emily Tracy said that the school district does not allow students and parents to opt out of required curriculum, including instruction on social studies and histories, end quote. Now, when the Washington Post reached out to Emily Tracy, neither Tracy nor Benjamin White, the counselor, responded to messages from the Washington Post late on Wednesday. But Emily Tracy did send a statement to WTHR Channel 13 there in Indiana. Emily Tracy went on to say, any decision related to parental consent and curriculum determinations are made in accordance with the law, she said. Now, about 240 students are enrolled at Sprunica Elementary School, which is in Nineveh, Indiana, which is southern Indiana. It's in Brown County. The school is 97% white. Now, as a historian, I shudder to think what their Black History Month lessons look like. Now I don't know what they look like, so I'm just scared to see what they look like. That's all I'm saying. Maybe they have some good ones. I don't know, but if the school is 97 white, okay. I'm not sure what percentage of their teachers are African American, but it's like they're probably not dealing with information from ASALH, Association for the Study of African American Life and History. They're probably not dealing with this year's theme, national theme for African American History Month, coming from ASALH, which is Black Wellness and Health. So now, news of the opt-out form comes as teachers and school administrators around the country grapple with how to teach race-based lessons, In 13 states, new laws or directives have limited how race and sometimes gender are addressed in classrooms, leaving teachers fearful of the repercussions and consequences, in some cases opting to pull lessons, the Washington Post has reported. Now, we'll continue this on the other side of the break. And there was a good segment from the Readout with Joanne Reed from what was that, the 16th, dealing with this topic as well, of the GOP and this backlash to lessons taught in school and this fake attack on critical race theory. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Back from break in 4 minutes. How's everybody doing? I had to get ready for this next segment. All right. If you like this type of information, give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Be sure to register if you like the type of historical information we share here. Register for the classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa. Understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Okay, stand by. So we do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch them anytime. As soon as you register, you can watch the class we did this past weekend. You can join us in class on Saturday, February 19th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, back from break in 3 minutes. When we come back, I want to go to this article from WTHR Channel 13 out of Indiana also. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for the online classes. Back from break in 2 minutes. Stand by. Okay. Okay, we got Eric. We've got Silver, Joya. Now, if you've taken classes with me before, you'll get a 50% discount on the new classes. What the hell is this?
Events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Unfortunately, many people confuse what racism means. Racism is a power structure. It was laws and policies that put us in this predicament. It's going to be laws and policies that take advantage of. When you control the radius of a man or woman's thoughts, you can control the compass of his or her actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know.
We have it all on 910 AM Superstation. 910, the Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Thursday, February 17th, 2022, and we are live. I'll be on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, so you can watch on Facebook and YouTube, Roland Martin on Facebook and YouTube. I share the broadcast also on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. Be sure to register for the online classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. I just sent you clip number 3, Shakita from WTHR, Channel 13, Indiana. We'll go into that in just a minute. Okay, hold on. This is freezing up on me again. Social media platforms. I had to refresh the screen. Okay, so right before the break, we were talking about this story out of Indiana in the Brown County School District. This deals with Spronica Elementary School, where a waiver was sent out dealing with a Black History Month lesson, and parents were given the option to opt their children out of the Black History Month lesson. All right. And also, be sure to register for the 10-week online classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays from the ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And then also from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and the Black Power, 1865 to 1968. All right. I teach those on Saturdays and Sundays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. If we, thegrio.com has this article here. This is the first article I saw on this topic, and I did more research on this. Parents given choice for. Okay, let me close this out. They have too many ads. Griot has too many ads. I can't deal with that. Let's go back to the Washington Post. So this piece here from the Washington Post. An Indiana school planned Black History Month lessons. A letter sent to parents allowed them to opt out. This is from February 17th, 2022. All right. So if we go to this piece, we're going to clip number 3 from WTHR in just a second, Shakita. It's in that article that I sent. Okay, so if we look at this here in a statement, to WTHR Channel 13. Emily Tracy, who is the school district superintendent, said that the school district, the Brown County School District, does not allow students and parents to opt out of required curriculum, including instruction on social studies and histories. She said any decision related to parental consent and curriculum determinations are made in accordance with the law. Now, Spronica Elementary School has 240 students, approximately. The student body is 97% white, according to state data. Now, news of the opt-out form comes as teachers and school administrators around the country grapple with how to teach race-based lessons. In 13 states, new laws or directives have limited how race and sometimes gender are addressed in classrooms, leaving teachers fearful of the repercussions, and in some cases opting to pull lessons, the Washington Post reported. Now, Indiana is among at least 27 states considering such legislation. Passed by the Republican-controlled Indiana State House of Representatives in January of 2021, House Bill 1134 proposes limits to race and history lessons in the state's classrooms, the Indianapolis Star reported. Although Senate Republicans there on Tuesday proposed changes that would slightly weaken the bill, state Senate Republicans in state of Indiana. Now, in January, a similar bill stalled in the Indiana State Senate after its author, Republican State Senator Scott Baldwin, said teachers' lessons about fascism and Nazism should be impartial. So see, this is why who's in your state legislature and who your governor is so important, to be able to block stupid bills like this. State Republican Senator, state of Indiana, Scott Baldwin, Republican, said teachers' lessons about fascism and Nazism should be impartial. He later apologized and told the Star, I think that's the which Star was that? Indianapolis Star. He later apologized and told the Indianapolis Star that, quote, Nazism, Marxism, and fascism are a stain on our world history. Okay. I wonder if he wants to teach about the nice side of slavery also, or teach about slavery being impartial. We're going to teach about slavery being impartial. We're going to teach about the good side of slavery. See, this is an example of how the consequences. Because I hear some people make idiotic statements like the solution to the problem of Americans being ignorant of history is just teaching our children African-American history at home. But when they go out in the world, they're dealing with people who are ignorant of their own history, ignorant of the history of African-Americans. Yeah, we should teach our children our history at home, but that history has to be taught in every school across the country. And this goes back to the piece from Time Magazine that we talked about on yesterday's show and the day before that, dealing with Reconstruction and how the history of Reconstruction is not being taught in schools. Okay, let me change this here, change this title. So Reconstruction and the history of Reconstruction is not being properly taught in schools. That's crucial, because the January 6th insurrection was a continuation of the domestic terrorism that took place during Reconstruction and what happened after Reconstruction ended. A new report finds that 45 states are failing to teach students about the period that shaped race relations after the Civil War. A new report. Now, this is an article from Time Magazine, time.com. And we talk about this in my class that I teach, dealing with from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. This is from January 12th, 2022. Okay. A new report finds that 45 states are failing to teach students about the period that shaped race relations after the Civil War. You're talking about Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877. Now, what's amazing is some of the same people who will say, well, we'll just teach our children African history at home, but not correct what's being taught in the schools. You're not going to run away from these laws, because this impacts, see, the way you treat a people is largely based upon what you think about a people. What you think about a people is largely based upon what you've been taught about a people. What you've been taught about a people is based upon what you've read, heard, and seen about a people. People's understanding of history influences the policies they support and who they vote into office. Politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement. Many of the same people whose solution to anti-critical race theory laws is just teaching our children African-American history at home are some of the same people who then want the federal government to pay reparations for slavery. You're largely talking to people who don't understand the history of slavery and don't understand the history that happened after slavery, called Reconstruction. The people that got to vote on this, most of them are ignorant of that history, whether you're talking about at the state level or at the federal level. So you got just people just running around just quoting dumbass slogans, but can't tell you how to get what it is they say they want. In the aftermath of the insurrection a year ago, January 6, 2021, which is a continuation of the Civil War, a continuation of the end of Reconstruction, a continuation of the political violence that was inflicted upon African Americans as well as white Republicans during Reconstruction and then after Reconstruction ended. Many leading historians in the aftermath of the January 6, 2021 insurrection, many leading historians drew parallels between the violence and the Reconstruction era, the period of political revolution directly following the U.S. Civil War. These events we saw reminded me very much of the Reconstruction era and the overthrow of Reconstruction, which ends in 1877 with the Compromise of 1877, which was often accompanied or accomplished, I should say, by violent assaults on elected officials, said Eric Foner, Pulitzer Prize winning historian and author of the book Reconstruction, America's Unfinished Revolution, 1863-1877. Okay, we'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. All right. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, so you can register for the online classes I teach. Okay, we got to do this clip here from Brown County Schools, WTHR Channel 13. We have to do this clip. Okay, we got to squeeze this in about Whoopi Goldberg too. Back from break in 3 minutes. Okay, if you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network. $, the AHN show through Cash App, $, the AHN show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Bathroom break in 2 minutes. All right. Give us a thumbs up if you like this broadcast, or heart. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Follow us at The African History Network on Facebook. Turn on live notifications so you know when we go live. And follow us on YouTube, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP on YouTube. Bathroom break in 1 minute. Bathroom break in 1 minute. Stand by. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. All right. Be sure to register for the online classes I teach on the weekend. On Saturdays, it's Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Kemet being one of the original names for Egypt, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. This is from WTHR Channel 13 in Indiana, and they have this article here dealing with an update on this story. Brown County schools viral letter.
Nose had cause for alarm.
Hold on. Brown County schools viral letter gives families choice to opt out of Black History Month lessons. Let's go to that video that's there. Let's go to the clip, Shakita. All right. So once we get it queued up, press play. In other news, Whoopi Goldberg is back on The View. She came back Monday, and there's a good article dealing with this from Soap Opera Network. Okay, I saw this on Smart News, and if I can get these ads, whatever the hell this is, to close up. The View hit season low in total viewers and key sales demos during full week of Whoopi Goldberg's suspension. All right, let's go to the clip.
Letter in question gives students the option not to learn about Black history if their parents so choose.
This letter quickly went viral on social media. So tonight at 6, Argina Galeros shares the response from the school district.
Veronica Elementary School in Brown County allegedly sent a letter home to parents allowing students to opt out of Black history lessons. The last line of that letter in this picture reads, "If you would like to opt your child out for receiving these lessons, then sign the form below and have your child return it to the school to give to the teacher." The post is making its rounds on social media with thousands of retweets and comments. One response, "This makes me really sad for America." Another writes, "Why would this even be an option?" 13 News reached out to the counselor who wrote the letter and were referred to the superintendent. After leaving messages, we showed up. We went to the
It takes a lot to manage a complex health condition. Phone calls.
Superintendent, but we were told she's not available. Then Wednesday afternoon, 13 News found out the superintendent sent a letter to parents and staff about the situation. She released this statement to 13 News. She says, in part, quote, we do not allow students and parents to opt out of required curriculum, including instruction on social studies and histories. Any decision related to parental consent and curriculum determinations are made in accordance with the law. We are looking into the matter to determine the justification for the language included in the letter. We will respond to any parental concerns on an individualized basis.
Thanks so much, Tina. If you would like to read the superintendent's full statement, you can do so by heading to our website right now at WTHR.com.
All right. Okay. Okay, that's from WTHR Channel 13 there in Indiana. All right, now back to the story here. So we know that we covered Whoopi Goldberg wrongfully being suspended from The View for making a mistake about history, but there is a declining knowledge when it comes to the Holocaust in general in America. There's a declining knowledge, okay? And we know also when we look at things like Reconstruction, the history of slavery is being incorrectly taught in schools all across the country. Okay, so when she came back this Monday to The View after being suspended, and soapopera.network.com has this piece. The View hit season low in total viewers and key sales demos during full week of Whoopi Goldberg's suspension. Now, some people are saying, well, that's what you all get because you shouldn't have suspended Whoopi. She apologized, but Kim Godwin, CEO of ABC News, had it in for her anyway, treated her like a child and said, we're going to suspend her and she should take this time to reflect and learn about the history and all whatever. Okay. When is America going to take the time to reflect and learn about the history of slavery in this country and the African Holocaust and what happened after slavery? We see is not correctly being taught in schools. Okay. Once again, the article from Time Magazine. Okay. But anyway, if we look at this piece, according to the latest figures released by Nielsen, AC Nielsen, The View experienced a season low in total viewers, women 18 to 49, the key demographic, women 18 to 49 and 25 to 54, rating during the week of February 7th through 2022. The only full week without the show's moderator, Whoopi Goldberg, who's been on the show, I think, since 2007. After she was suspended for comments she made on the Monday, January 31st broadcast. Now, the February 1st broadcast, first day of Black History Month, she apologized, said she was wrong, and she got suspended first day of Black History Month. Quote, if you're going to, okay, so we know what she said. All right. Now, Goldberg later apologized for her comments, stating that she misspoke. Despite apologizing, Goldberg received a 2-month suspension. And let's see, we know that many of her co-stars of her co-hosts supported her as well. Now, for the February 11th, 2022, for the week of February 7th through the 11th, 2022, the View averaged just 2,195,000 viewers, placing it ahead of General Hospital. I didn't even know General Hospital was still on the air. Today with Hoda and Jenna, GMA3, What You Need to Know, and The Talk. I don't watch any of these shows. I usually have it on MSNBC all day in the Black News Channel. The show would, in 910 AM Superstation WFDF, the show would have also beaten Days of Our Lives in total viewers, but the soap opera is currently on hiatus due to NBC's ongoing coverage of the 2022 Winter Olympics from Beijing. Now, although The View remained in 10th place in women 18 to 49, the talker was down week to week, hitting a new season low with a 0.26 rating, which was just barely ahead of Good Morning America 3, what you need to know. So Good Morning America 3 comes on later in the day. All right. So meanwhile, with women 25 to 54, The View again ranked 10th, same as 1 week earlier, with a 0.39 rating, also a season low. All right. Now, compared to the full week of January 31st through February 4th, The View was down 283,000 viewers week, down 283,000 viewers week to week. A lot of people upset that Whoopi Goldberg was suspended, okay, from The View. So read this here from soapopera.network.com. The View hit season low in total viewers and key sales demos during full week of Whoopi Goldberg's suspension. See, this is what happens when you mess with people. You know, don't take people. She apologized. You mess with it anyway. All right, we're out of time here. Right now, it's correct. Wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. All right, those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching. Stay. All right. I'm having some technical difficulties here. Okay, see if we get this open. All right. Okay, so if you'd like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. The piece I was going to do, the segment from the Joanne Reed Show, we're going to say that for Sunday. Sunday, we're on 2 hours. We're out of time on today's show. All right. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have information for Cash App and PayPal there. And when you scroll down, we have the information for the online classes that I teach. Okay, so on Saturdays, this is a 10-week online course that I teach. 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Kemet's one of the original names for Egypt. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So we deal with thousands of years of history. We can't start studying our history in slavery. We have to understand that historical events don't happen in the, and we have to look at what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. So we deal with ancient Africa, we deal with the Nile Valley region of Africa, Ethiopia, Nubia, Ta-Nehisi, ancient Kemet. We deal with civilizations, great Zimbabwe. We look at Carthage. We look at the Punic Wars. We deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, and what the Moors take into Europe. We go through and look at this history chronologically. Okay, we go through and look at this history chronologically, and then we look at the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade in 1441, right around there with the Portuguese, and we go throughout history. So I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips. You don't have to buy any books to follow along in the class, but the number of books that I cite also. You can use this information with your children. I would say the information is PG-13, so I don't do a lot of cursing and things like this. It's very well documented. Classes on sale $80, regularly $130. Okay. Once you register for it, you have full access to the class even after the class is over with. Okay, you still have full access to the class. All right, and then on Saturdays, I teach from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Okay, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Now, this second class that I teach, and this is from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time also. When you register for both of these classes, you can watch the classes we did last weekend. All right. So we do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch them anytime. So the second class, I created this second class because there was so much information that I could not get into the first one, Understand the Transatlantic Slave Trade. Understand the Transatlantic Slave Trade, I've been teaching that on and off since 2017. Okay. And this new one, I just started teaching this one mid 2021. So this one, we start in 1803 with the Louisiana Purchase. And we deal with the Missouri Compromise of 1820, Louisiana, which is the result of the Louisiana Purchase. We deal with Texas winning its independence from Mexico in 1836. We look at the Mexican-American War, 1846, 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo of 1848 as well, which organizes the land that the U.S. gets from Texas. The U.S. gets the land that makes up Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, California, Utah, and Nevada, all that from Mexico for about $15 million. Then we look at the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, Bleeding Kansas, 1855, the Bleeding Kansas conflict between pro-slavery and anti-slavery groups that were armed in the Kansas territory. And then we see what leads up to the Civil War starting. And then we deal with the Civil War, 1861, 1865, Reconstruction, 1865, 1877, Jim Crow era, 1880s, 1890s, World War I, World War II, Great Migration, 1915, 1970, Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power movement, to understand what happened to us after slavery ended. Okay. And the history of Reconstruction and Reconstruction ending in 1877 with the Compromise of 1877, the closing of the failure of the Freedmen's Bank of 1874, the closing of the U.S. Bureau of Freedmen, Refugees, and Abandoned Lands, 1872. All this stuff, we never really recovered from what Reconstruction ending and the reversal of the rights and the progress that African Americans were making, the reversal that takes place in the 1880s and 1890s. Okay, so we go through each class, we go through and analyze about a 10, 15, 20-year period of history to understand what happened to us after slavery ended, how we got to where we are today, to understand where we need to go from here, what needs to take place. And we get to see the attack on voting rights that took place, the brutal attack on voting rights in state legislatures, okay, rewriting state constitutions to impose poll taxes and literacy tests, things like this, but also the domestic terrorism that was inflicted upon African Americans to keep us from voting as well and keep us away from the voter polls. All right. This is why the January 6th, 2021 insurrection is a continuation of what was going on during Reconstruction and the end of Reconstruction, the domestic terrorism that was inflicted upon us during Reconstruction. The January 6th insurrection is a continuation of that. Okay, but when you don't understand history, you don't see the connection between it. So this is what we deal with in this class. Now, we have the classes in the bundle pack also. You can register for both of them at a big discount. The classes are regularly $130 each with bundle pack. For a limited time only, you can register for both classes for only $120. And if you've taken any of my online classes with me in the past, going back to 2017, email me at TheAHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You get a 50% discount on the classes in the bundle pack. All right. Email me at TheAHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. As soon as you register, you can watch the classes we did last weekend. There's bonus content also. And you'll get 15 bonus lectures from me, digital lectures. That's part of the Michael Imhotep 15 DVD bundle pack, the Black History Month bundle pack. This one right here we have in DVD format. You can order it in DVD format from our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. But as a bonus, you'll get those lectures included in digital format when you register for Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Okay, so let me see if we can bring this up here. I'll post a link here and visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and you can register for it there. Okay, if you want me to do a presentation for your group or organization, email me at AHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com also. whether it's African American History Month or Juneteenth or Women's History Month, because I have a presentation, Great African Women in History, the Mothers of Civilization. So email me for that also. And we just posted a link here where you can register for the classes. Okay, Ms. Brand. And we'll post here the course bundle, all that. We'll post that here also. All right, we'll post that. Okay, look, we have to get out of here. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it's correct your own behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. I'll be on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday. And we'll share some segments of that on our Sunday show. Sundays, we're on 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Friday, on Monday through Friday, we're on 11 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time. We have the information at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Let me see if this will open up. I was having problems. I was having problems with the screen share here in Restream, and it wasn't letting me sync to show you these slides. I was going to do a preview of the online class. Okay, so now it's working. Okay, can we go back over to all right, let's see here. Will this come up? All right, so here's a brief overview of some of the things we cover in this online class. So I have over 200 slides for the class: ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa. Understand the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. So we've seen the attack on Black History Month that's taking place this month because of these anti-critical race theory laws. And Axios.com has a really good article that we've talked about here on this show. New rules are limiting how teachers can teach Black History Month. New rules are limiting how teachers can teach Black History Month. Okay, it's a really good article from Axios.com that deals with these attacks. And this is understanding politics. When we go through and study this history, we see the role that laws and policies play. Okay, now some of the things that we deal with in the class are the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors. We look at shocking archaeological discoveries that are causing experts to rethink everything. And when these archaeological discoveries take place, and we went through some of them last weekend. So when you register for the class, you'll get to see that. These are causing the scientists to have to push the timelines back. And they're saying they have to rethink everything. And it's causing them to have to push the timelines back. We look at the role insurance companies played and insurance companies that took out policies on slave ships and enslaved Africans on plantations. Freemasonry, America and the Founding Fathers, origins of the term America, Africa, and more. There's a lot of information we look at because the class started as a 4.5-hour lecture I did back 2014. And then that lecture was the result of about 7 years of research on this subject matter. And then the 4.5-hour lecture expanded into an online class in 2017, and is grown exponentially since I first taught it in 2017. So we see different articles like this is from March 2021. Mock slave auctions, racist lessons, how U.S. history class often traumatizes, dehumanizes Black students. And that's from USA Today. And we look at this one here. Republican state lawmakers want to punish schools that teach the 1619 Project. So we see an attack on the 1619 Project. We see an attack on African American History Month. We see an attack on the teaching of in many school districts and states because of these laws. We see an attack on the teaching of the civil rights movement, slavery, teaching about racism, white supremacy, etc. This article right here, dealing with Juneteenth. A lot of African Americans don't know about the history of Juneteenth. A lot of what they know about Juneteenth is false. Most Americans know little or nothing about Juneteenth, poll finds. This is from New York Times. 60% of Americans know little or nothing about Juneteenth because the Emancipation Proclamation didn't end slavery. That was June 1st, 1863. That's not what ended slavery. Is the 13th Amendment ratified December 6, 1865. That's one of my teachers, Dr. Leonard Jeffries. So we talk about Asar, Osset, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus, and that Immaculate Conception story, Heru being born of a virgin birth, December 25th. And we look at, the different Neteru in ancient Kemet and how they influenced the deities amongst the Romans and the Greeks. We know Osset, who the Greeks called Isis. Her name means she of thrones. She is associated with love and fertility. And when we look at Europe, we see even before the Moors go in that the Europeans are worshiping the Black Madonna and Child that comes from Osset and Heru, who were African as well. And there's still statues of the Black Madonna and Child that are in Europe today. Whether you're talking about Spain, whether you talk about France, Russia. This book here, this is one of the books we use in the class. This is from Runoko Rashidi, Black Star, the African Presence in Early Europe. Black Star, the African Presence in Early Europe. So this deals with some of the history of the Moors in Europe. And we look here. Page 90 and 91, he has some pictures that he took. He's in Switzerland of the Black Madonna and Child, statues and paintings, Switzerland, Poland, Madrid, Spain, Luxembourg City, Luxembourg. So Europeans were worshiping African people hundreds of years ago, even before the Moors go in. This is the flag of the national flag of Sardinia, Italy, with the 4 Moors heads on it. Originally, the flag was, I break this down in the class. We go deep into this. Originally, the flag was blind. The bandana was originally blindfolds because they had been conquered and made prisoners. But because of tourism and being politically correct, they changed the blindfolds to bandanas. But they still have flags where they have blindfolds. Okay, you'll still see that depiction with the blindfolds. All right. So we have the decolorized version, the retelling of the story, the decolorized version with the white Mary and Jesus, and Mary being the virgin. So the stories of the virgin birth, the Immaculate Conception, the adoration, those are retelling of ancient stories that go back as early as 3300 BC in ancient Nubia. And Tony Browder talks about this on page 95 of Non-Violent Contributions to Civilization. Some other things that we deal with in the class. What was the transatlantic slave trade? What were some of the events that led up to the transatlantic slave trade starting? What role did Christopher Columbus play in the transatlantic slave trade? Columbus and Spain really help expand the transatlantic slave trade. He helps to lay the foundation for slavery, racism, capitalism, the exploitation of indigenous people. It really helps to expand slavery, the conquering the land especially in the Caribbean, Hispaniola, and Jamaica, Cuba, Puerto Rico, things like this, and setting up the plantations, especially the sugarcane plantations. Okay, and then you're going to see these fights over this land between different European nations, the French and the British and things like this. But the Spanish are the second ones involved in the transatlantic slave trade, right behind the Portuguese. The Portuguese are going to dominate for the first 200 years. When did Africans first come to the U.S. as slaves? Did Africans sell themselves into slavery? We deal with that complicated history. Were African people in America before the transatlantic slave trade? Absolutely, because this was our land stolen from us. When we deal with African American History Month, One of the dominant themes of African American History Month needs to be the first Americans were Africans. Before we talk about slavery in African American, I'm the type of history I deal with in the type of teachers I have. My Black History Month presentations are different than what a lot of people are used to seeing. Now, Dr. David Imhotep wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. He's a friend of mine. I know him personally. I've interviewed him probably about 13 times. And Professor Kabahaya Kamene, another one of my teachers, he deals with the African presence here in this land going back tens of thousands of years ago. This is before Native Americans came into existence, before slavery existed. We cannot start our history in slavery, even during quote unquote Black History Month. And we talk about Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who created Negro History Week. We talked about him on yesterday's show, February 7th, 1926. Dr. Woodson also studied African history, and that was part of the cultural celebration of Negro History Week, understanding African history as well, and the connection between African Americans here and on the continent of Africa. Okay, unfortunately, the way that we commemorate African American History Month or Black History Month, in many ways, is like really disrespectful to Dr. Carter G. Woodson. Okay, why isn't this coming up? Hold on. Okay, here we go. We talked about this yesterday, Zen Education Project. This article here, February 7th, 1926. Carter G. Woodson launched Negro History Week, and to get some of the background information. This is Dr. Carter G. Woodson here. I've seen very few pictures of Dr. Woodson where he's smiling, because he was educating the people about their history who've been taught to hate who they are. I've seen very few pictures of Dr. Woodson where he's smiling. Okay, I mean actual pictures. You may see like a painting. I've seen very few actual pictures where he's smiling. And then my friend Dr. Daryl Michael Scott wrote this piece for ASALH, Association for the Study of African American Life and History, which is the governing body of Black History Month, and it's the organization that Dr. Woodson co-founded September 9th, 1915. Dr. Daryl Michael Scott is a history professor at Howard University. I interviewed him in 2021 because we dealt with, he teaches a class at Howard from slavery to mass incarceration. And I interviewed him in 2021. Okay, we dealt with the myth that mass incarceration is because of the 13th Amendment. It's not. And we interviewed him for about 2 hours. Okay, so Dr. Daryl Michael Scott goes through, and a lot of this information I read a few years ago when I was researching the origins of African American History Month. That's when I first found out about him, and I emailed him and asked him, could I use information that he wrote that was on ASALH's website dealing with the history. I was asking, could I use that in an article I was writing? That's when I first made contact with him. Okay, so check this out here. That's at zeneducationproject.com. zeneducationproject.org. zeneducationproject.org. And there's been an annual theme for African American History Month, Black History Month, going back to 1928. There's been an annual theme. This year's theme is Black Health and Wellness, or Black Wellness and Health. So they have it at ASALH's website, the information. Now, on page 14 of Dr. David Imhotep's book, and his book is backed up by 713 footnotes and 7 peer-reviewed articles, which is the height of academia. He deals with this discovery made by Dr. Albert Goodyear, who's an archaeologist from the University of South Carolina. He deals with this discovery made in 2004. And Dr. Albert Goodyear found 13 different types of evidence thoroughly documenting an African presence in the land we call the United States of America, going back at least 51,700 years ago. Now, I know people like to talk about 1619 and keep talking about 1619. Well, the Spanish were taking Africans into the territory we call South Carolina in 1526. That's 93 years before 1619. That gets left out. That doesn't really get 1526 doesn't really get talked about a lot. They talk about it a little bit in the 1619 project, but they keep focusing on 1619, Jamestown, Virginia, but don't deal with the Africans who were here for tens of thousands of years before that. So, you know, if you think your history in this country started in slavery, you mistakenly think everything you did after that is somehow progress. No, you have to understand the history before that. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back to this. So they found artifacts, architecture, campsites, carvings, Egyptian writings, footprints in lava, genetic M174D haploids dealing with DNA and genetics, linguistics, paintings, skulls, skeletons, structures, and tools. They found 13 different types of evidence, thoroughly documenting an African presence in this country going back at least 51,700 years ago. But in our class this past weekend, we looked at information coming out of Brazil that pushes the presence of Homo sapiens, and these were African people, back 100,000 years ago, as opposed to 56,000 years ago in South America. There's so many archaeological discoveries that are coming out every other week. Okay, so we have this, and then here's Dr. Albert Goodyear. Now, the discovery was of the Khoisan. The Khoisan have the oldest DNA on the planet, that are ancestors to the Ainu and the Twa. They go all around the world. This is a article from ScienceDaily.com, which is a scientific website, and they deal with scientific discoveries and archaeological discoveries. This article is from November 18th, 2004. November 18th, 2004. New evidence puts man in North America 50,000 years ago. Okay, who were these people? New evidence puts man in North America 50,000 years ago. We had already circumnavigated the globe, and because of the discovery coming out of Morocco in June of 2017, we know that Africans were in the territory that's today Morocco. We know that they migrated from the Nile Valley region of Africa at least 100,000 years earlier than we originally thought. Because in June of 2017, they found skeletal remains of Homo sapiens that date back between 300,000 and 350,000 years ago, which are at least 100,000 years older than the remains discovered in Ethiopia in 1974 that date back 195,000 years ago. So with this class, we don't start the history in slavery. We start the history before Europeans existed. Radiocarbon tests of carbonized plant remains, where artifacts were unearthed last May along the Savannah River in Allendale County by University of South Carolina archaeologist Dr. Albert Goodyear, indicate that the sediments containing these artifacts are at least 50,000 years old, meaning that humans inhabited North America long before the last ice age. Who are these humans? Who are these humans? This is before Europeans even come into existence, 50,000 years ago. So these were the Khoisan. So the Khoisan have the oldest DNA on the planet. An October 2012 genetic study published in Science magazine found that the Khoisan in southern Africa are the oldest ethnic group of modern humans, with their ancestral line originating about 100,000 years ago. The Khoisan, formerly called by the derogatory term Bushmen, are genetically unique, and no other currently known population had separated so early from our common modern human ancestor, according to the report. Now, this archaeological discovery here blew everybody away. This is from the New York Times, February 15th, 2010. On Crete, new evidence of very ancient mariners. On Crete, new evidence of very ancient mariners. When these discoveries come out, I mean, we look at the lost city of Egypt, dazzling Aten, that came out in 2021. It's a city about 3,400 years old. okay, is the lost city of Egypt. We look at the lost city of Tanis Heraklion that was revealed in 2013. It's a 1,200-year-old city that was swallowed up into the sea off the Egypt's Bay of Abu Qir. There's so many archaeological discoveries coming out. So in this 10-week online class, we don't start our history in slavery, like oftentimes we've been taught to start the history. We go back into antiquity. We do it tens of thousands of years of history. This discovery right here blew people away, and it caused the archaeologists to understand that seafaring in the Mediterranean, they had to push the timeline back 100,000 years. They had to back that thing up. Juvenile had the song Back That Thing Up, like 1988, 99. When these archaeological discoveries come out, when you read them, and they publish them in the journal Nature and other scientific journals, things like this, the scientists say they have to rethink everything. And they start realizing, and they're saying all this is much older than what we've been taught. So they have to push the timelines back. Stone tools. Now, this discovery is 12 years old. Stone tools found on the Greek island of Crete over 2 summers, archaeologists say, are at least 130,000 years old, at least 130,000 years old, which is considered strong evidence for the earliest known seafaring in the Mediterranean and calls for rethinking the maritime capabilities of pre-human cultures. Crete has been an island for more than 5 million years, meaning that the tool makers must have arrived by boat. So this seems to push the history of Mediterranean voyaging back more than 100,000 years. This seems to push Mediterranean sea voyaging back more than 100,000 years, specialists in Stone Age archaeology say. Previous artifact discoveries has shown people reaching Cyprus, a few other Greek islands, and possibly Sardinia no earlier than 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. So they have to back that thing up. So who was on the planet 100,000 years ago, 130,000 years ago? This one right here about the lost city of Egypt, Tanis Heraklion. And this is from Yahoo News. There's numerous articles on this from Yahoo News, picked up by they picked it up from the Telegraph, which is a UK publication. BBC has information on this as well. Sunken Egyptian city reveals 1,200-year-old secrets. This is about Tanis Heraklion, a city that was swallowed into the sea. And then when you look at the discovery that came out about 2011, 2012, about the 17 pyramids found buried underneath Egypt using infrared, a satellite that uses infrared technology to see underground, and they found 17 pyramids buried underneath Egypt. Because all these different types of archaeological discoveries we deal with in the class, this is the type of information we need to talk about during African American History Month. I mean, we can talk about runaway slaves. We can talk about runaway slaves, but I mean, it's we can talk about the first, people who get the first patent, and it's the African genius. We can talk about people that made inventions to make white people's lives easier. We can talk about that, but it's so much more to our history. Other things we deal with in the class, the problems with slave movies. Why are we being bombarded with slave movies and slave-themed TV shows? Like a few years ago, I don't watch any of them. I know people like Underground. It's like, okay, when you understand the whole perspective of our history and the whole timeline of our history, it's like, okay, why you have shows about slavery? Why don't you have shows about when African people ruled the world and African people ruled civilizations? Why don't you have shows about like that, or shows about, West Africa and Ghana, Songhai, Mali, Zimbabwe, ancient Nubia, okay, ancient Kemet, things like this. We deal with Osar, Set, and Heru, who the Greeks called Osiris, Isis, and Horus, and the origins of the Immaculate Conception story, but also and we deal with language as well, and understand language, because to understand a lot of this history, you have to understand language also. The links between ancient Kemet, Egypt, and early Christianity, which is deep. We deal a little bit with the origins of Christmas a little bit. We talk about Joie de Piet, Black Pete, and center class. Center class is the religious figure coming from the Dutch and coming from the Netherlands, the religious figure that wore red and white. And center class in Dutch means Saint Nicholas. This is the religious figure that the mythological figure of Santa Claus is based upon. And when the Dutch come to the U.S. in the early 1700s, they bring center class with them, and center class gets transformed into Santa Claus. This is a deep history. But the center class had a sidekick named Joie de Piet, Black Pete, and Black Pete was a Moor. Is this the preview? I think this is the preview. This is not the full slide. So we showed Black Pete yesterday. I think this is the preview presentation of the class. Yeah, this is the preview. Okay. Because the full class is over 200 slides or something like that. So we talk about Black Pete. We do all this because when they celebrate when they have the parade and celebrate Black Pete and Joie de Piet, all of this, right? In right around December 5th or so, in the Netherlands, they show that they have people dressed up as center class and people dressed up as Joie de Piet, and they have on blackface and afro wigs and red lipstick, things like this. And they say that the steamboat comes from Spain. They say the steamboat in the mythology, they say the steamboat comes from Spain that brings Joie de Piet, Black Pete. Well, the Iberian Peninsula, Spain and Portugal, is where the Moors go in 711 AD. And they say the steamboat comes from Spain. Now, the myth of Joie de Piet comes from a children's book in the 1850s. Okay, a children's book in the 1850s. So we deal with Christopher Columbus. We have to deal with that demon and his 4 voyages, where he went on his 4 voyages. Columbus never came to the land that we call the United States of America. The closest he came here was Cuba, which is 90 miles away. Okay, he goes into Hispaniola, and in Haiti and Dominican Republic have never recovered from being conquered by Columbus and the Spanish. He's conquering on behalf of the Spanish crown. They've never recovered from that. Puerto Rico has never recovered from that. Jamaica, even though the British take control of Jamaica from the Spanish, Jamaica has never recovered from being conquered by the Spanish. When we go look at the history of these Caribbean nations, these island nations, we see the devastation that happened over 500 years ago to them. Columbus conquers the Bahamas in 1492 and Cuba and Hispaniola. The western third of the island of Hispaniola is where Haiti is, what the Taino called Haiti, and what the Africans there called Haiti when they won their independence in Haitian Revolution 1791 to 1804. And the Dominican Republic is on the island of Hispaniola also. And then Columbus conquers Jamaica in 1494 and Puerto Rico as well. He goes into the West Indies and Puerto Rico in 1493 and Jamaica 1494. Trinidad and Venezuelan mainland in 1498. Conquers Panama and Honduras and Central America 1504. They've never recovered from this. Dr. David Imhotep in The First Americans Were Africans Documented Evidence, he said that 70% of the people Columbus encounters on his 4 voyages was still African people. 70%, because we were already in those island areas. And then when you look at Captain John Smith in 1607 in Virginia, Captain John Smith said he was captured by a group of Black Indians. That's on about page 67 of The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. But Ptolemy de las Casas, who's the one who he encourages the Pope and King Charles V to basically stop enslaving Native Americans and enslave African people. He talks about how the Native Americans have suffered enough and their populations are dying out. This is in the areas that the Spanish, those Caribbean nations that the Spanish are conquering, because Bartolomé de las Casas was a bishop who traveled with Columbus on a number of his voyages. Bartolomé de las Casas estimates that Columbus was responsible for the murder of 12 million to 25 million indigenous people. Dr. John Henry Clark deals with this a lot in Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery and the Rise of European Capitalism. We look at the role that insurance companies played also. Insurance companies taking on insurance policies, not just on slave ships and Africans on those slave ships, but also Africans on the plantations as well. Here in the U.S., there was at least 40 insurance companies that sold policies on Africans on the plantations. All right. So that's just a little brief overview of some of the things that we deal with in this 10-week online course that I teach: Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. All right, so we do this class on Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Class is regularly $130. It's on sale $80 as soon as you register for it. You can start watching content. You can watch the classes we did last week, and this bonus content also. You're going to get 15 bonus lectures from me, the Michael Imhotep Black History Month bundle pack. You'll get that from me. So we have all that. And you can visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register there for the class. And then also on Sundays, I teach from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Okay. And that one picks up where Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade leaves off. You can watch them in any order, but it picks up where that leaves off. Remember, we have the bundle pack. So you can register for both classes for $120. That's a $260 value. So we go up, we have that, and you can register for the bundle pack. And if you have taken any of my online classes before, email me at TheAHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and you'll get a 50% discount for returning students. Email me at TheAHNShow@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You get a 50% discount. Okay, so let's post this here. Course bundle. All right, we have to get out of here. Remember, the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And